This is Just a Few Questions from Chicago. I'm your host, Marc Sims, and I have Ranoule Tatum on the line. He is a educational consultant and infopreneur. Mr. Tatum, you've been doing what you're doing, what you've been doing for a long, long time. Aren't you ready to retire?
No, Mark, that's not my destiny. I will retire when the day I make my transition. They put me in a crematory.
So why do you keep doing what you're doing, man?
Well, one thing is I didn't want to end up being like some people, no disrespect, where you work 40 years, 40 hours a day for a week for 40 years and try to retire for 75% of the 100% you couldn't live off of. And plus I was raised in the restaurant business. I was third generation business person. I started in the restaurant business in 1950 at 3 months old. That's another story for another time. But my grandfather and my mother were entrepreneurs, a restaurateur for my mom. My grandfather started his business in 1909. He was in the trucking business. And by today's standard, he was a multimillionaire by 1929 when the stock market crashed, and all his money was in real estate.
Yeah, but what about you at this time? We was taping this or recording this during the coronavirus crisis, and it's a good time to reevaluate, evaluate, figure out what we were doing. So you're going to keep on doing what you've been doing, regardless of the times, regardless of all the AI, all the algorithms, all this new technology coming up. You haven't changed, or will you change with the new
No,
times, with the new era?
I haven't changed. I've been transformed by the renewing of my mind. So we got about 15, 20 days. I think it was on the 20th of March. Found out that some of the consulting work I was doing out in the field that was being terminated by the Chicago Housing Authority. And then they gave us the 30th of April. And then I found out this morning, if you would have been in the room with you, you thought I had won the lottery because they said now it's extended to April 30th. So everything that I had deferred over the years by blocking my own prosperity, it's nobody else's fault, it's just me. It was the enemy, the INNER, not the external ENEMY, that was blocking my prosperity. So I'm working on my book. I'm using technology, as you said, to write the book. I don't have to use pen and paper. I just dictate my notes into a recording device, talk to text on the cell phone, and then my free conference call has a feature where you can talk by yourself if you want to
Yeah, but what
and
I'm trying to say,
record it.
Mr. Tatum, excuse me for cutting you off, is that with all these with the AI and all the algorithms, and everybody's got the internet, almost everybody, they don't they for what you're selling, they really don't need. They can go to the computer. Your customers, somebody can go to the computer to access your information or anybody's information and wisdom in general. Why do they need to hear you speak?
Because one thing that I do, and you alluded to it earlier in your introduction, that I'm an infopreneur. See, at one time I was an entrepreneur, and I became an infopreneur because I gather information and disseminate it to people for free. And in some cases, the R jumps off and it becomes for a fee because I got my computer set up with the World Wide Web without saying too much. And I'm constantly getting various informations in different areas of expertise from the World Wide Web in my mailbox. So I don't have to sit down and Google something. It comes to me and I disseminate that information to people for free or a fee. So most people don't want to take the time to do the research, and most of the people don't know how to manipulate or utilize that technology to their advantage
I understand
because they
that.
go and work their job, they come home, sit on the couch, they watch sports doing the basketball, sports doing hockey, sports doing football, and we all got the same amount of time. You can't manage time. Time keeps going on. See, I'll give you an example. You ask me what time it is right now. It's 3:40 in the afternoon, but by the time I tell you what time it is, it'll be another time. So you need to get your own watch. Time is constantly moving, so the focus has to be on you as a time manager. Anybody that's offering a time management workshop or seminar, what they in essence they're going to do is teach you how to manage yourself
Well,
because you can't
yeah.
manage time. You can only do two things with time. You can make a good investment or a poor investment. The terminology people use got a negative connotation, talking about you waste time. You can't waste a gift. You can't waste a gift when it comes to time. Now, somebody may buy you something for Christmas, you throw it in the garbage can the next day. That's being wasteful.
I understand. I don't want to be accused of this podcast of sciencing and not saying anything. Give us as we close out. Give the audience some practical advice or some skills or something that they can move their life forward during the crisis and after this crisis and beyond.
The first thing you have to do is write down what you want to do. Then you've got to find somebody that's done the same exact thing you want to do or something similar, because there's a common thread among all business people, for example. That's just one area. If you want to be a doctor, you need to talk to an intern and a doctor. If you want to be a race car driver, you need to talk to a race car driver. You want to own a McDonald's, you need to talk to a McDonald's owner. So what you need to do, most people, you will only have one or two mentors in your lifetime. So what you have to do is read books, watch YouTube videos, or any information that's disseminated to you from an expert, somebody that's got personal experience. The last thing you want to do is talk to your friends and family and get advice from people that don't have an experience with what you want to do, because your biggest challenge is going to be the enemy, the INNER, not the external. Because I watched a lot of war movies, and anytime you get caught behind enemy lines, somebody has to save you. You can't save yourself, because when you're in your mind, you behind enemy lines. When you're sitting in the house by yourself, you're in bad company. You need help, especially men. Stop being so damn egotistical and want to do everything yourself like I did, and don't ask for help. When I started asking for help and put me a mastermind group around me, and we all rotated and drew on each other and bounced ideas off, and then seek out people that are doing what you want to do through books and videos and podcasts like this. And then if you may get blessed one day, like I was on the phone with Les Brown Tuesday morning talking to him. He's the motivator. I'm the motivator's motivator. He didn't sound too good. So I said, Les, if you get a little down and out, never forget that you're the motivator, and I'm the motivator's motivator. The kids gave me that name when I was working in Chicago Public School. They said, you teaching us how to be self-motivated. You self-motivating yourself. So that means you the motivator's motivator. I didn't come up with that idea. Our 8-year-old did.
But there are people, I'm going to close out in a second. We're coming up to the end. There are people your age, my age, we're about 11 years apart. There's people who are 20 years, your junior, who have given up. Why do you think people give up? Whether they give up in their 20s or their 60s, why do people just give up and they say, I'm
one
done,
thing they
I'm
don't
done.
understand, there's an art, there's a science to success. And you've heard me on many occasions say that overnight success takes 10 to 15 years. If you do the backstory, like you said earlier, if you do the backstory on anybody, some people even took longer. I mean, Colonel Sanders waited till he got his first Social Security check and said, this ain't going to work. And he was already experimenting with chicken. So he didn't have the money to open franchise. So what he did was he went to the people that had the chicken business and sold them the recipe and got a monthly fee. Dave Thomas with Wendy's, when asked why are your burgers square and everybody else is round, because Dave Thomas said, I don't believe in cutting corners. There are no shortcuts along the road to success. If you're not willing to pay a price, then you're not going to get what you desire, because any desires that you have really come from the creator. You're chosen by the creator. Any bright ideas you come up with, that was given to you. This is what I believe. You don't have to believe what I believe. Like Morpheus told old boy in the Matrix. He said, well, I don't believe the Oracle and all this stuff, and I don't believe Neo is this and that. And he said, well, thank God, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, thank God I don't have to base my belief on what you believe. And then Morpheus told Neo when they was on the roof that it's one thing to walk the path, walk the path and know the path. See, if you know the path and you ain't walking the path, how's your walk? How's your footwork? I don't wear shoes that you have to tie up with tongues in them, because I end up with a problem where my tongue and my mouth can't keep up with the tongues in my shoes, so I wear loafers.
Okay,
I
Mr.
deal with a
Tatum.
lot of analogies, Mark, to get people to
No,
understand
you good. You firing me up. But where can people
the
reach you?
information.
Where can they
Because
find you?
the only reason why people make excuses, because I'm not going to say the excuses are the tools of the incompetent and they build mountains of nothingness, but what is happening is people don't have enough information to keep them encouraged and self-motivated and inspired. You have to.
Well, that's where you come in. So, how do people find you, Mr.
No,
Tatum?
but see, I have to teach people like I did the children to be self-motivated. Then they have to be inspired based on their own predetermined goals and put the work on paper. And then get somebody to help them, and then you can stay in the process. And then you got to have a person called a hugger. That's a person that encourages you when you get down and out. You got to have somebody like me and you that we call each other, and we become shakers. And when we already shared my predetermined goal with you, and then you do a praise and progress report, and I ain't did what I said I was going to do that's on paper, then you shake me up. And then I got to have role models. I had a lady tell me that the man that had Johnson Products was her mentor. And I said, when the last time you talked to him? How in the hell he going to be your mentor and you ain't even got his phone number, you ain't talked to him? That's a role model. In anybody's lifetime, they have one or two mentors.
Okay.
Mentors choose mentees. Mark, let me finish.
We got.
Mentees.
No, I'm gonna get cut off by the computer. I got it. They got a time limit on YouTube.
They choose. They put you under the wing. You don't go to somebody and say, "Will you be my mentor?" That's like going up to girls she don't know nothing about.
How can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, they can go to Google. They can go to Facebook. I got several pages. And my number is 312-671-5653. I can be found at Ranoule, Ranoule at Gmail. But go to Facebook or go to Google. And they got my number. They got the address to my office and everything, man. It'd be as Les Brown said, it'd be a plum-pleasing pleasure to help anybody. Let me close by saying, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best, and God will do the rest.